Hey folks, welcome! You're with PewterCityJim here, and today I wanted to talk about the new Pokemon games that are about to come out, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I've been waiting for Generation 4 remakes just as eagerly as anyone else after all. So the original Pearl was my favorite game for a good long while. I loved Sinnoh and a lot of the innovations that came about because of the Nintendo DS hardware. We'd seen weather and terrain effects before, but in Generation 4 they seemed so much more integral to the way that the games played. You literally had to forge a path through deep snow and free yourself from sinking into mud, for goodness sakes. And while I know some people weren't thrilled with this hampering of movement, I loved it. It made it feel more like an arduous adventure where you had to battle not only Pokemon, but the landscape as well. In terms of the way that the remakes look, I'm totally on board. The earlier games were all chibi in terms of sprite design, and I've always enjoyed it. I do love the newer model graphics from Sword and Shield 2, of course, but I have no issues with the stylistic conventions of the older games getting an upgrade into 3D. And comparing the first trailer to the newer ones, it's clear that Ilka heard our concerns and added some additional polish to the overworld in those shaders. Other things I'm excited about, those underground habitats. They look like so much fun. Looks like there's an option for co-op play as well, maybe? In the underground, at least. Looking forward to that. Anyway, the underground never held much interest for me in the original game, so I'm hoping it will this time. What else? Well, customization, of course. Yes, please. Let me spend roughly 10 Poké-Yen to 1 on clothes versus potions and revives and stuff. That always happens to me. Oh, and Pokemon following behind you? That's a double chef's kiss right there. Cyrus looks super creepy and weird, and I'm here for it. The original soundtrack was awesome, so I'm assuming that it can only get better from here on out. But of course, the best part of any Pokemon game is creating and building up a team. I generally try to stick to a theme when team building. For my first Pearl run through, my theme was herpetology, reptiles and amphibians. I started with Turtwig and built around that. Machop was the only one who didn't entirely fit, because it has some reptilian features, but it's mostly just a short, muscular human with a skin condition. But my team was Turtwig, Machop, Shieldon, Gibble, Wooper, and Krogan. Oh, and the other rule I gave myself? No evolving until we hit the Hall of Fame. That's right, my first Hall of Fame picture was me with a team of literal infants who were honestly super over-leveled because there was no way for me to go about winning otherwise. For the remakes though, I'm gonna try and break down the team I'm gonna use. I want to have a variety of fun Pokemon, and I want to use things that I haven't before. That's it. That's the theme. Stuff I haven't trained before. As many hours as I've spent playing Pokemon, there are still a lot of creatures that I haven't used. This new remake looks to be using an expanded Pokédex similar to Platinum, so let's take a look at the options. And keep in mind, this is a team designed with the core game in mind, not the competitive scene. I'm pretty terrible at actual competitive battling, so... Oh, also, as I've already mentioned, I like not evolving things until after the Elite Four. First off, starter. I've never been the biggest fan of Empoleon, so I've never used Piplup as my starter. I should probably see about changing that. So, how best to structure a team around this penguin to support it? In terms of early game Pokemon, we get access to a few good ones. Starly and later Staraptor are always a solid choice, but I have, of course, trained Starly before. Same thing with Shinx. Who hasn't raised one of those cute little Lynx cubs? Bidoof was the ultimate Gen 4 HM donkey, but something tells me we won't have to worry about that in this set of games. HMs are kind of past tense by now, right? I think our next member should be Bidoof. Looks like a solid choice, so let's add Bidoof to the roster. Both of these Pokemon are going to give me an edge against gym number 1, Roark. Speaking of gyms, the second gym is Grass type, headed up by Gardenia. In terms of our team, we need something that can heavy hit some of these bulkier Pokemon she has. I think we should be able to access the area underneath Cycling Road, and if so, we're going to add 2 new members. Ponyta and Gligar. Weirdly enough, even though Ponyta is super classic, I've never used one in game before. And I'm not sure why. It's such an iconic Pokemon, and it seems like one that almost everyone would have used at some point or another. Gligar will give us that flying type we need, and add a ground type as well. Ideally, I don't want to double up any types. So, 4 Pokemon picked, 2 to go. The next gym is Maylene and her fighting type. Gligar's flying moves should help, but what if we added a Psychic to the team too? I'd love to see a Mime Jr., but that's a Diamond exclusive, so I need to trade one in. Which isn't a deal breaker or anything, but I do prefer to catch my own stuff for the initial run through. Let's go with Metatype. It's one of those odd little guys I've never used before, and for absolutely no reason except I just never got around to it. It gives us Psychic and fighting type as well, so a nice powerful combo. So we're up to a total of 5 Mons. Who to pick for the last? By now we have some type coverage for most of the remaining gyms, and I'm very tempted to use Eevee. The problem is though that I've raised and used literally every Eevee evolution available up to this point. They're so fun and I love them, but that's not the point of this run through. So what types don't we have yet? Normal, Ghost, Dragon, Fairy, Bug, Electric, Dark, Ice, Rock, and Steel. Well, not until later. I think I want to get a Dark type. Fairy is also a solid contender, but I think Dark is where it's at. My immediate first pick is Sneasel. Dark and Ice at the same time, offering really good coverage. It's not readily available until we're up in the frozen north, but that's fine. We can wait until we arrive in Skyrim.
Hey, you! finally awake.
So here's the team. What do you think, guys? Do you plot out your team in advance, or do you take a more spontaneous route with your selection? I'd love to hear your approach in the comments section, as well as just your general thoughts on these remakes. I've been excited for them for a long while, so I'd like to know if you're with me or if you have reservations. Either way is fine, of course. I'm not one to judge. In the meantime, this has been PewterCityJim. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!